Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I've got your very first gameplay and overview straight from the Alpha Strike dev server for the Centauro RGO. This will be a premium vehicle. This is currently a pre-order, so it is a packed vehicle for the Italian ground tech tree and is rank 7, battle rating 11.3. Now this vehicle is more or less the same as the Centauro I-120, except there's some really weird differences with this. One being that it weighs 4.5 tons more. It's got 30 extra horsepower, but that's not nearly enough to bridge the gap in power to weight ratio, so this will likely be a bit slower. And also bear in mind, every single thing I say here, all of these stats, everything about this vehicle could be changed leading up to and even after the update goes live on the live server. So anything can change. But that said, in the dev blog, they mentioned that this would have substantially better, or at least a little bit better, turret armor. And I'm not noticing that. So let's just go ahead and look at this. This is the RGO. You have 25 millimeters of high hardness rolled armor here, 25 there, 25 there, and pretty much it just goes around. It's like a 25 millimeters of high hardness rolled armor plate kind of around the turret. And I guess in some sense, it makes sense that it's a little bit different protected, but I don't know if it'd be better because here you have composite screens. And then of course you have the really thin armor around the back and then whatever else, right? So in some ways you could argue, yes, the rear of the turret is a little bit better protected. But when it comes to armor overall, the composite screen is going to win. And then of course you have the front composite screen, 50 millimeters. And you might be saying, oh, well, you know, the RGO has something to make up for it. No, it just completely loses it. I mean, you have 5 millimeters of high hardness rolled armor, but that's it. Like, that's it. And this has composite screens all around the side. I mean, not in like huge thicknesses, but they're there. And this loses them. You have aluminum alloy there, but that's it. You know, and then this has a composite screen there, whereas the RGO totally lacks it. So I'm not entirely sure what they're talking about this having better armor. It's got better armor around the rear of the turret, but that's pretty much it. And it weighs 4.5 tons more. Now, interestingly, the visibility on this is 84 compared to the I-120's 136. Again, all this can change going to the dev server, the live server, but it is something to note. Now, this is just a real quick HeatFS analysis here. So 54 millimeters of armor protection on the turret cheek and also 56-ish, whatever, right? Around 50, 55 on the front of the vehicle. Now, if you look at the I-120, remember, 54 on the cheek, around the same on there. The same HeatFS, you now have around 120 millimeters of armor protection and 150 to 160 here on the front of the vehicle. So you're basically doubling the armor protection here on the cheek and tripling it here on the hull. So it's really, really strange. But either way, let's get into a match or two and see how this thing performs. Bear in mind, again, dev server, we will likely be facing a lot of bots, but we'll have to wait and see. Also, this does have the same thermals as the I-120, which I believe are Gen 2, Gen 3, so it's still pretty good in that regard, and also has the same exact modifications overall, CL3143. Pretty much everything here is going to be the same as what you see here. So it's more or less the same vehicle, but again, it weighs more and with arguably less armor protection. That said, let's get into a few matches. So, I mean, its overall maneuverability isn't bad. I mean, it does feel a touch worse than the standard I-120, but insofar as still being able to pretty much pass everybody else on the battlefield, I mean, this will still be able to do it. Don't get me wrong. It's just, again, that questionable trade-off for quote-unquote armor that I'm not really sure exists, at least in its current state here on the dev server. Okay, we have ourselves a kill versus him. Unfortunately, my buddy in the Leopard 2K was not able to survive that. Now, that being said, this thing is still flanking around pretty damn well. I mean, I'm actually, like, I'm not surprised because, you know, of course it is a worse power to weight ratio, but at least it gets that extra 30 horsepower. It's not all that much, but it does mean something. And, I mean, just overall, like, this thing actually turns very, very well. But again, that's a Centauro for you. I mean, among Centauros, this is going to be one of the slower ones. But does that really mean much? I don't know. Okay, so it looks like that that armor didn't really help all too much. I mean, of course, it's the Begleitpanzer. But, yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and respawn. Okay, there he is, and there he was. Very nice, relatively easy. But again, I mean, it's basically a light tank engaging with a light tank. Like, what sort of damage is that thing supposed to soak up? I mean, like, light panzers aren't really known for their armor resistance. And unfortunately, when it comes to dev servers, we're pretty much facing, for the most part, bots. Like, if you look here, there's one other guy. This guy is still in the match, who's not a bot. And that's it. That's it. Everyone else here is a World War II tank bot. So, I mean, initial acceleration's worse than that of a Leopard 2A6. There's that. But as I was saying before, I was so rudely killed by that IS-2 bot, which, by the way, I know bots are bots, but especially if you're in a light vehicle like this, they are still deadly if you're not paying attention, which, of course, I was not. My bad. So, that said, I mean, this vehicle is, it's good. I mean, it's pretty much going to be as good as the Centauro I-120. Arguably a touch worse, though. Again, because it has worse mobility. And it really doesn't make up for it with any better armor. Okay, I wasn't really expecting an engagement that quickly. Oh, look at that. We have a few people on the team. But, again, I don't know. I mean, like, what else really can be said about this vehicle that hasn't already been said? This is a Centauro I-120. Not quite a clone of it, but pretty much one and the same. There he is, and we have ourselves the kill, finally. So, I mean, it can go right through the front of a Leopard 2A7B, which is kind of impressive, I suppose. I mean, I don't know. How do I feel about this? I mean, again, probably the most neutral thing I can say, and probably the most active thing I could, or accurate rather, thing that I could say about this vehicle is that, hey, this is the dev server. There's still a lot of changes that can be made. I mean, heck, the armor on this could end up being truly better than the Centauro I-120. That is entirely possible. Wow, okay. That's a very, very slow smoke grenade reload, by the way. Anyways, it could end up being better, again, than the I-120. We don't know, you know? I mean, that's one of the fatal flaws, in a way, of the dev server, because, yeah, like, you can play these vehicles early and get a feel for them, whatever, but so often these vehicles change. And, I mean, almost radically, in some instances, they change. And so, you know, I really wish that I could just keep on telling you guys about, like, oh, well, you know, don't worry, whatever. I don't know. I really don't know. It's just impossible for me to say. And by the way, guys, I'm not a content partner, so I'm not, like, trying to sell you guys a bill of goods here and get you guys to purchase this, because I don't make money from sales from Gaijin. You know, they give me test drives and stuff, but that's it. And so I'm trying to give you guys an honest opinion here, and, like, it's a little confusing in a way, but not really at the same time. Like, this thing can be good, and it might not be good. It's just difficult to say here from the dev server. And from my point of view, it's just a very strange thing where we have it, where in theory it should be pretty damn good, and it is, in that it's a Centauro, but it feels like, if nothing else, this is like a slightly worse Centauro, if that makes any sense, right? It just feels not as good as a regular Centauro. Again, being that it seems like it lacks armor, being that it seems like it lacks, you know, the mobility as well. I guess that's probably about it, you know, but that being said, I'll probably just end the video here. There's not really much action going on, unfortunately. And this vehicle is, and this is a really stupid mechanic, by the way, Gaijin. Why the hell should we have it where the parts of this vehicle are slightly damaged, but not enough where I can't repair them? I hate that. I hate that so much. Make it so that you can repair, like, yellow and orange things, even if it's at, like, a somewhat, like, quicker rate than the other things. It just makes sense. But either way, thanks so much, Gaijin. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. If you don't mind, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing. I just escaped death there. But, yeah, this is a weird vehicle, and I really don't know exactly where to place it. But if I had a feeling, it'd be slightly worse, at least currently, than the I-120. But again, The I-120 is a great vehicle in and of itself, so a slightly worse Centauro is still a pretty damn good vehicle. Thanks so much. I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.